Well, medical experts say a growing body of evidence shows that loneliness can have negative effects on our health. In fact, one doctor said stress from loneliness can be equal to smoking half a pack of cigarettes a day.
And the pandemic only made it worse. The Department of Veterans Affairs says veterans have really been affected. So they created the Compassionate Contact Corps, a virtual program that pairs volunteers with a lonely or socially isolated veteran.
Well, joining us to talk about the program is Prince Taylor, Deputy Director for the VA Center for Development and Civic Engagement. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So what can you tell us about this volunteer program?
Yeah, the Compassionate Contact Corps is a virtual social prescription program. And what that means is that instead of medication, physicians, social workers, psychiatrists can prescribe more social interaction for their lonely and socially isolated veterans. And the way that manifests itself with us is through phone calls and video calls.
Now, how has volunteering at the VA changed during the pandemic? Are you finding it more difficult to get volunteers for this?
Yeah, we definitely had to scale back our volunteers, but last year we still had 25,000 volunteers that provided more than 2.5 million hours of service. And so we did have to reimagine what volunteerism could be. So instead of in person all the time, a lot of times we're making virtual assignments like Compassionate Contact Corps.
So with the Compassionate Contact Corps, you're having these virtual visits and this connection. Are you finding that for these veterans, is the level of connection still there? Is it still beneficial?
Yeah, we are finding stuff that we never thought we would uncover. Almost immediately, it had a positive impact. We did a survey a year after we started the program, and 90% of the veterans said that it made them feel less lonely, and 70% said that it increased their overall well-being. So we know at the VA that this program is doing so much good, but there's a lot of work left to be done.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's define the problem. How serious of a problem is loneliness among veterans?
Yeah, unfortunately, loneliness is a huge problem, and it's a global problem. And part of it is simply that a lot of people don't even like to admit that they are experiencing loneliness. I heard you mention about the half pack of cigarettes, but what happens there is that it can lead to depression, suicidal ideations, increased risk for hospitalization, a whole host of other clinical issues.
So for people out there, whether they're veterans, whether they know a veteran or they just want to get involved as a volunteer, how can people get involved in this effort?
They can go to our website, volunteer.va.gov, or reach out to their local VA and let them know that they're interested in learning more about Compassionate Contact Corps.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it's such a needed service, especially for our veterans. We care so much about them, and we want them to have the care that they need when they come back. So thank you so much for joining us. Prince Taylor, Deputy Director for the VA Center for Development and Civic Engagement.